we got ourselves the resurrection of John Wick in John Wick 5, something that I personally did not really want.
No.
And I feel like there was a way to make this news exciting for even fans like ourselves if they waited a while instead of going, nope, we're working on it. And Keanu Reeves, I was at a Q&A with him where he really said that he stated that one of the main reasons he returned is so that way John Wick could die. He wanted John Wick to die. And to see that they're doing 5 and David Leitch being like, no, not David Leitch, Chad Stahelski. Yeah, Chad Stahelski.
Yeah.
Get them confused. Chad Stahelski saying that, yeah, I'm open-minded if something does come to mind, but Lionsgate does seem to be pushing it. You've been covering John Wick a lot on your channel. Were you at all excited about this, Paul?
I was a bit annoyed because I don't see what else they can do with the character. I think once you have the death story, that's it. Like, can chapter 5 then be he comes back, he takes down the high table again, and then dies at the end? That could be one scenario. Or he comes back, takes down the high table again, and then lives at the end, and they just keep churning out these sequels forever. Personally, I don't think they're going to top the ending of John Wick 4 in terms of giving the character a proper send-off. I think it's the same with Iron Man in the MCU. I think Captain America going off with Peggy Carter. Those things, you're not going to get better than them, so don't attempt it. Just leave it. Don't Terminator it. Don't try and dark fate everything and give you a crazy take on stuff on how he comes back. Just leave it at that, yeah. But obviously, people want to see the franchise keep going. But as soon as I saw the headline, I just thought, cash grab. Lionsgate, they're like, you guys, you did talk about doing a 5th film at one point, which they did. And then they decided that they didn't really have enough ideas for it. And that 4 would be the perfect place to say goodbye. Just kill them off. So yeah, personally, I think they should have stopped there. But Hollywood is Hollywood, and sequels are one thing that constantly generate money, and with the last movie making so much, they just can't leave it alone. They can't leave the dog alone. You know you know what the entire saying of the franchise is? Just leave John Wick alone. That happens at several points. So rewatch them. The characters are like, don't go after John, and people keep going after him, and it just leads to chaos and everything come crumbling down. So yeah, maybe they should learn from the lessons of the film and just leave the guy alone and let him die, please.
And Keanu Reeves is getting much older now. he is much older. It's as great as the guy ages.
Yeah.
I am concerned for him, and it has to reach some whole new fantasy level. I feel like he's just going to become the actual Boogeyman by this point. He's just going to evolve into the real Boogeyman.
Yeah. Well, I said when
haunting people.
I said when the movie released that I did a little joke tweet that he could be in hell and he's got to fight his way, because the film's very much a metaphor for Dante's Inferno, and he could fight his way through hell, get to God, get to heaven, get back with his wife. It'd be like some crazy. I was taking the mick, obviously. I don't think they should do that.
It's kind of cool.
It seems like that's
kind of cool. If it was like an anime, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
As much as you're making a joke, I'm like, there's an anime version of this that would be pretty fucking sweet to watch. Like a
right now, someone's Right now, someone's putting that prompt into Chat GPT with generate a script.
Write me a script for John Wick. I'm sure they're trying to figure out something. Is there anything within the John Wickiverse that they're developing? I'm looking forward to the Continental personally, even though we haven't seen much about it. I'm curious to see if they are able to bring the action, if they're able to replicate the kind of action style from the films onto TV. I feel like they would have a really big hit on their hands if they can do that. But the ballerina one, as much as I like Ana de Armas, I feel like if you don't have Chad Stahelski directing it, it just doesn't excite me. For some reason, like, who's the director of the ballerina? Let me do some little tech work here.
You Google and I'll talk over the top and get people distracted to make them keep hanging on. The retention level's got to stay high. So yeah, I totally agree. Who was it? Sorry,
Len Wiseman.
What else? Yeah, I've heard that name before.
He's sure. Underworld.
Bloody hell.
Total Recall. Okay. Total Recall remake.
No, I've never seen it. Actually, to be fair, it might be great.
Yeah. I've never seen it either.
Yeah, so do you want to... the franchise might be dead by the time they get to John Wick 5 if the Continental and the Ballerina underperform.
No,
We'll
that's
see though. They might Disney Plus it, you know what I mean, where you just completely kill all the goodwill for your franchise with TV shows and spin-offs, and it gets to the point when the movies come out, people are like, I don't know if I'm that interested anymore.
I feel like what would be exciting is if they announced a Donnie Yen movie. If they did that or whatever,
Yeah,
if they a Kane film, if they did
yeah,
something about him, some
yeah.
like a blind warrior and living in this world, that would
Do
excite me. That would excite
do that
everyone.
as 5. Yeah, do that as John Wick 5. Just call it John Wick 5 Kane.
Yeah, if there's like a reward out in his head for some stupid reason, or if they got all the bad guys who survived throughout the franchise and you put them in one big Suicide Squad movie together or something, there's a way
Yeah.
to there's a way to do it where you bring there's a way to keep the franchise alive if they wanted to because the world is so big. But yeah, I don't feel like you need to bring back Keanu Reeves, who has spoken like 4 words. Although he is like when he is doing the action
Yeah.
scenes, he might not be the best with the delivery. He might not be. But when he is doing the action, I feel like no one gets the body language and the the rage spewing from his facial features and the whole demeanor as well as Keanu Reeves does. There's such a captivating part of watching him. It's more than just watching him do fight scenes, and there is such a great performance within. There's an emotion he's permeating through the screen when he's doing it, and that's the hard thing to replicate. It's like I noticed that when I watched, it really stood out to me with John Wick 3 when him and Halle Berry were having
Mm.
their big fight scene because Halle Berry feels very choreographed. Like it feels like an actor who's choreographed and not really much of the performance is in there. Whereas, I mean, she's doing good, she's moving great, but then when they cut to Keanu, there's like the freaking struggle that he's got going on at all times, and that's what I think helps you stay on board without it becoming exactly Fast and Furious is his
Yep.
performance. Yeah. So there is strength to it. Same time, I feel like you can't carry this on without him. But Paul's
But
son, Paul, do you have more to say about this? I'm
I,
gonna make sure.
I do, yeah. Just speaking of Halle Berry, there's obviously lots of side characters in the franchise that never really got send offs either. You had Common, Ruby Rose, Halle Berry's another one. I mean, they can bring a lot of those kind of ended on cliffhangers as well. The Common one especially was like he stabbed him in the gut as a profession, or was it in the heart? He stabbed him somewhere as a professional courtesy, and then was like, "I'll leave you alive, and I'll see you later." And then Ruby Rose, who was like, "I'll be seeing you," and she did the same thing, or so something like that. And these characters, you got the tease that they were going to come back at some point, and I always thought they're going to show up in 3, and I thought they were going to show up in 4, but they never showed up. So maybe in 5 we'll bring everyone back. We'll Avengers it. Said it is the Avengers.
Why didn't they come back? You would think
No
they would
idea.
have, especially when they set them up to come back.
Yeah,
And they never actually do. That is a very fascinating question, especially when the
that's
bounty
why
hunter.
we're getting 5.
That's why we're
Getting
getting 5. But the first one to dig his body out from the grave will be the one
mm,
who. Yeah, they really should just go supernatural with it. I would be fine with it. I personally would be fine if they just went gung ho supernatural, especially with all its religious tones and everything you were talking about. So, yeah,